To recap briefly for those who might have been tired or forgot, you were surrounded at the Nonstop Cabaret by a fleet of battle strippers, kind of sicked on you by Director Elfman, who had revealed his status as the tongue crown. He ascended into a little ceiling rope. Supposedly, according to him, he's holding both Maddie and Clint hostage, possibly. Icepeak did, in fact, I believe, disable the very interested gentleman, probably very scantily dressed gentleman that was just questioning her about her interests. I want to point out also that while these battle strippers are dressed like, well, strippers that are going to a cop-themed event, they are pretty ripped, briefly. Yes, you were surrounded at the Nonstop Enforcement Cabaret, the secret, well, actually not very secret, hideout of the director of the Soft Cell Technologies Group, Director Elfman, revealed to be a crown of tongues, hell-bent, it seems, on the destruction of what it means to be human, the power structures, the sort of peace that you enjoy coexisting with humanity. He is doing his best to undo and unravel that, to reveal the more brutal nature behind survival. When I say brutal nature, and I hear a little squeak, kind of undermines me. Yeah,
I'm sorry, my cat.
Oh no, it's
perfect.
Yeah. Blue, you were kind of like separated off from the group I guess when they were, oh boy, when did that split even happen? Tied up with something, maybe like having to report in because to Rumor Rascal, because he's wondering what the fuck's happening. What with all the rioting and like police action and it seems like people are making big moves. So at some point, we'll say you might have gotten pulled away from the group, and as a result, had to return to your apartment momentarily, probably to go through some old files or try to assess what your next move should be. It seems like the world is going crazy, and Director Elfman is leading the charge of the maniacs in the asylum. At some point, while you're there in your apartment, your cat actually gets out through a window and goes running off. How attached are you to that cat?
I'd say she's pretty attached, yeah.
Well, you could either choose to stay on task, maybe get Rumor Rascal files, or otherwise whatever it is you came to the apartment to get for him, or you can choose to chase your cat down. It's your call. Choose the cat, or you choose your criminal crime lord man, who's very dangerous and maybe a little crazy, but sometimes reasonable.
Well, I mean, her cat is like allowed to go outside, but I guess it usually sticks close by, so maybe I noticed that she's like running farther than she should, and
Sure.
I guess I'd go after her.
Okay. Following the cat, you notice that Ember is kind of pointed, it's direct, like very, very pointedly going somewhere. It seems like she's following something. Hard to say. You notice this if you're following her, like things are getting organized as she is going someplace. Like if she's going through an alleyway and you're following, like lids go back on trash cans, small amounts of mess that are kind of littering, broken glass gets swept, specifically out of her way, but also like in general, it seems to be tidying up. At some point, as you're following the cat, it seems like you can see a figure kind of hovering over Ember that is almost, it looks like it is made of basically sticks and has these long tassels hanging down from the arms. It's almost like some kind of strange mechanical ghost creature that is just sweeping its arms left to right. And you notice wherever it sweeps its arms, things are getting tidied. So just in that general direction, things will just be tidied in one direction or another. The cat, it seems like your cat may actually have a stand. But more importantly, it seems to be very insistent on the direction that it's going into. Eventually, you find that you are being led to the outside of the nonstop enforcement cabaret, where there is a woman. To just drag her out quickly so you can see what she looks like, smoking a cigarette. You probably haven't ever met her before, or if you have, it maybe was briefly in passing through different criminal groups. She's like somewhat recognizable because she dresses in a very distinct cop attire, like sexy cop attire. She looks like a very strange, like bondage themed cop, basically. A lot of like straps and chains and shit. She's just smoking a cigarette, and you can tell she's engaged with something because she's currently offering a cigarette to an old businessman who is trying to turn her down, saying things like, no, I quit years ago. I couldn't. And she's just trying to, fish the cigarette towards his mouth. Other than that, the front is locked up. Yeah, she's trying to just like slow, like, here comes the airplane, but with a cigarette. You can hear her say something like, come on, maybe a little drink of this too. And she takes out a flask, and you see he gets very nervous and says, no, I swore that off too, but my doctor says your doctor isn't here now. Whiskey, smokes. He's getting very nervous, and when she sees that that isn't working, she even pulls out like just a shitty wrapped hamburger, like in parchment paper. I even have a double-decker baconator. It seems that she is just trying to ruin this man who is attempting to remain virtuous. Your cat is unperturbed and mostly seems to be directed towards the entrance of the nonstop enforcement cabaret. Do you want to take a moment to try to stop this woman or speak to her, or do you just ignore her?
Yeah, I'd probably talk to her and just be like, hey, like, what? Gotta leave that guy alone. Like, he's clearly not interested.
Give me a hard-boiled roll. Oof. It seems that this woman's approach to trying to basically lead this man down a path of ruin, you can, as you're saying this, like to him, like say leaving alone, like you look away from him for 1 second. When you look back, he's like just stuffing the hamburger into his face and then washing it down with the flask of whiskey, all while like he has a cigarette in the corner of his mouth and he's trying to light it furiously while focusing on all these tasks at once. She folds her arms and looks at you kind of smugly. What are you, a cop or something?
Hey, I mean, I know how hard it is to resist that stuff. I was just trying to help. But, I guess if that's what he wants to do, I'm not gonna stop him.
She looks back at this guy who's getting red in the face and coughing from just eating a hamburger and downing whiskey at the same time, and then glances back at you. Well, from one cop to another, because, by the way, I'm a deputy. And then she poses and like flashes her fake badge, clearly made of plastic, at you, because I've been deputized to enforce the law here in Stella Maris. I should inform you that I think your colleagues might be in a little bit of trouble in there. Cute cat.
Oh shit, what's happening in there?
She like kind of like rocks back and forth on her heels. Well, I think the crazy man who runs this entire establishment might be, I don't know, doing something, probably trying to kill them all. Maybe you should go save them, or maybe she kind of like rocks back and forth. Like, if they're all dead, maybe you need to find better source of employment and income. Like, who really cares, right? If they're all gone, I'm sure there's other ways to make a living in the city, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna head in there now.
She like kind of like acts coy about it, like, oh no, why would you go in there and risk your life for those weirdos? Why would you ever do that? And she starts backing away. Um, and then you can see that guy that she was basically working over, like he has his back turned towards her as he's like trying not to choke on the burger, and she just casually lifts his wallet out of the back of his pants. Oh well, by the way, there's a fine for littering. And then she like waits a moment, and then the guy starts throwing up, and then she says, "There it is, littering. Thank you for patronizing Stella Marissa's law enforcement." She dangles the wallet, and then like winks at you, Blue, and kind of just tiptoes off.
I guess I should probably try to save this guy. Is he okay?
He's throwing up. He's not choking. He's just throwing up because he tried to eat a burger and drink a bunch of whiskey and smoke at the same time. But you do have more pressing matters, supposedly. The front door to the cabaret here is locked, but you're also a merman. You can just force it open pretty easy.
Okay, I'm gonna, tell the guy, hey, like next time, don't almost die choking on a hamburger, please, and like go to the doctor if you need to. But I gotta get in here. I'm just gonna enter the building.
You see the guy. You just hear him mutter as you go in, and he wipes the vomit from his mouth. He just says, "Oh, I think I'm in love." He seems to be, I don't know, swoon or taken by the terrible, terrible siren song of women, whiskey, hamburgers, and cigarettes. Arriving into the club, it is not quiet. You can hear figures descending and surrounding. You hear boots and high heels stomping in formation towards the center dance floor. And your cat is here as well. Just kind of strolls in with you.
I'm gonna try to scope it out.
So then what you see out on the dance floor are your AQUA team members surrounded by the police. Or I should say, not quite the police. It is a fleet of muscled, well, they look like strippers, cop strippers, in various fighting poses. It looks like they're all taking on like various martial arts stances, preparing to lay some sort of smackdown on your friends. And a few randos here and there who are, as you know, backing away as you would. You guys are all surrounded by these battle strippers. You see Blue kind of in the corner. Maybe one of you spot. We'll say Mikey. You're the one who has the very good perception there, and Icepeak, you're also kind of within line of sight. Blue, do you want to make any like motions or hand signals or anything, or do you just want to engage with this group?
Yeah, I guess she'll maybe make eye contact with Icepeak or whoever else, and then like join, like get closer.
So all of you, with nothing more than a glance at one another, kind of can communicate that information quickly. Like it's like your brains fill in the blanks with what the actions of the others are doing, leading to this sort of strange harmony of action, as if you were all one organism. So you're all different limbs of that organism, and you all kind of get an idea of what each one of your squad mates is doing. It's from their posture, the way they're breathing, where their eyes are looking, even if just quickly, like flitting somewhere. The humans around you, while you're doing all this, while this quick scan and like basically programming is being put in, you notice that they're moving like a little bit slower for just a brief second. They don't have the reaction time or processing speed that you do. and they're not stand users or samurai, so they're not able to keep up with this. But you are moving and thinking. You're moving and thinking like mermen do, and I would say for all of you, sunlight, twilight, and abyssal, this for a moment feels a little uncomfortable because this is how mermen used to fight in units against humans. The very quick coordination, usually led by a crown or a higher ranking Dagonite, like they would coordinate exactly like this. In a split second, they have a plan of action that might have taken an hour or two to come up with. They take in all the details quickly. They kind of transmit that information to each other non-verbally, and then they immediately execute that plan before the humans know what the fuck is happening. You're now using that to your advantage, and you're using it for good, we'll say, for the sake of the law. Because right now, these people are all breaking the law. So, when time resumes, we begin the sequence. First move, blue, roll blind. It's a 2. You will have a chance to spend a fate point if you want to improve that result, but we'll roll it as a 2. Second move, we'll say Enya, roll suppress. So Enya, you move up here and block the incoming blade swing because you could see that one of these battle strippers was about to rush in to swing with the blade, and before they know it, you're in, and their blade is meeting your arm, your armored form, even of an arm, like as your merman form emerges to protect you from that sort of damage. Towner, roll me a, we'll say, ride or die. You get a +1 to that because this is a combat roll as you move up into this formation to knock them over. Mikey, roll me a slick. As they are being distracted by what is happening in that upper right-hand quadrant, you are like very, we'll say, subtly spreading your. How do you do it? How do you want to spread that sticky heat?
Mikey, in my head, is always wearing sandals despite it not being work appropriate. Those are off, and it's just kind of running out of his feet. And he's slowly kind of stepping around, and it's just kind of pooling out.
Gross. Claudia, give me a martial arts expert, and you get your bonus from experienced brawler. Although it's more of a shift thing. And then finally, Icepeak, give me a. I guess Slither makes the most sense. Give me a Slither roll. Okay, these are the results. Now these guys are gonna roll in order to try and like stop you. First one is for the blind to see if anyone can call it out. Nope, they can't. One of them sees the flash, tries to scream out that they'll like close your eyes or get down, but it's way too late by the time they do that. Let's see, the second one, suppress.
Nope.
Oof. Their sword shatters against your arm, Enya, and the fragments actually like go into her face as she starts screaming, causing alarm amongst the other strippers there, like causing them to become terribly distracted, giving the next roll a +2 to its result. So yeah, it's not great. That's okay. That means that 1 that you rolled, Towner, becomes a 3. Actually a 4. So, oh god, these guys get bowled way the fuck over. Like, you're smashing them all around. They're just getting out of the way right now. Like, you completely blew through them. We'll put you right there, and you're right there. You gave me a 2, so let's see how they do on that. Yeah, completely thrown aside by Towner. One of them still screaming. Everyone kind of freaking out because they didn't expect this. They thought they had the jump on you. They are like basically all slimed in this like big quadrant. This basically the whole side here, the whole left side. Claudia, you rolled a 1, but that's okay. Probably doesn't matter. Sure doesn't. You're able to, with the chaos, basically perform some very graceful sweeping motions. What fighting style does Claudia use?
Judo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Sure. So you're just really doing some very fluid movements, and unlike practitioners of BJJ, judo, any of that stuff, they have to worry about like their own bones when they're trying to lock or throw other people. You don't have to worry about any of that shit. So your moves are probably, if anything, more effective about being against using against humans. In which case, yeah, these guys get kind of thrown back into this big group, this cluster of gooey strippers. We'll say like in this quadrant, more or less. Like these guys are all like more or less like bound up, and then the other ones that aren't bound up currently are either like being thrown aside or they are still blinded, trying to shake it off. Icepeak, you rolled a 3, so one last roll. They almost seemed like they were going to resist it, those that were in this lower right-hand quadrant, but you're able to kind of just lock them down. We'll say the remaining ones that aren't in the goop currently, or are like maybe were trying to fight their way out of it. Now they're trying to fight their way out of the goop, but also you are like locking their arms. So when all is said and done, they are locked down. Your squad action was a success in stopping them non-lethally, although there is the one who has a face full of sword fragments who's still screaming.
I'll go over and start treating her.
It's this one. I'll just put you right next to her, right there. So yeah, once you go over and start treating her, she's still freaking out. Oh my god, I just got work done. Ah!
Enya's probably over her going like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't think it would break.
What the frick?
You should not play with swords.
I was a little too big for you, honestly."
I ordered it online. Ah!
I start pulling out pieces and nubbing.
The strippers are more or less confined, though. You have them as a squad action. You've pretty much taken out the group, except for the one who was off to the side. What did you do to that guy? I don't even remember.
No, he was also eel constrained.
Oh, he's eel. He's eel constrained.
Yeah, eel constrained. Yeah.
Everyone's eel constrained. You hear a toilet flush, and then it's like quiet. You hear a toilet flush, and then the sound of someone hustling out of a place and quickly, like basically clasping their belt. This guy kind of runs out. Huh! And he sees that all of his companions are, some of them are gooped, some of them are just tied up and probably have fallen over into the goop because they've been trying to wrestle against it. They see Icepeak pulling blade fragments out of a lady's face. A giant shark man who's probably still like a little bit in Hulk mode. Woman with an armored forearm. And he says, whoa. Do it. Can I quit? I give up. I give up.
Probably for the best.
He just takes a pair of nunchucks and a couple throwing stars out of his belt and puts them down on the ground and lays it face down with his arms out. He does not want any trouble.
Call for backup?
Wait, no. Why?
Are we not arresting all these people who assaulted police officers, or?
We're here to talk to, you know.
Yeah, I am aware, but we also just were assaulted.
Who would you say in the group has the best hearing, Mikey?
Yeah, I think it's me.
Okay, you hear something sizzling.
From where?
Up above.
Something's cooking, I think, or on fire. He turns his head to look up.
There is a single bright wisp of light floating gently down.
He looks down and he looks around at everybody and he just goes, "Soft cells here."
Well,
Oh boy.
that's our backup, I guess.
Are they ours?
Well,
We need to get these people out of here.
Yeah, you have an option now. You can choose to try to get them out quickly, or you can try to confront soft cell. But it seems like you know from experience, soft cell has no trouble at all with like basically collateral damage isn't a concern of theirs. And the room is like very full of smoke right now. Like it's just been filling up slowly over time. Room is getting warmer too.
We should probably tell them to disarm and leave.
They will not listen. Everyone evacuate the building. There is a fire alarm. She starts clapping her hands and.
There's no
ordering.
alarm. You don't even hear it.
I'm gonna say that anyway because I know what's about to happen.
Oh.
Yeah.
That same split second time that you had to take all these guys down is telling you that in very brief amount of time, there will be problems here. So you want to try to get these people out. They're currently stuck to the ground.
I was gonna say, can I adjust? I guess with my molecular control, can I change what mucus I've already produced? Sometimes you just say things.
A sentence?
Yeah,
Well, you
sometimes
can
just say a new sentence.
You can determine the solubility of the mucus. So if you want it to be more water soluble,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah, I want to start breaking it down as quickly as possible so these people can get up and leave. Or if nothing else, just turn it into a slip and slide and just start pushing, like whipping them out. Whatever's quicker.
Okay.
They're already covered in it, so I got to do something about it.
Oh, for my half of the room, can I do what she did and like make a bunch of eels under them and sort of push them out?
I would say you and Mikey can probably like coordinate to get people out, especially if you have other people that are helping you, which I'm sure you would, which, you know, Tanner's Muscle and Enya. So, Mikey, if you spend 1 fate point, I will say that there is a water cooler or tank somewhere nearby the bar that you could use to dissolve and turn that mucus into something slippery instead of something sticky.
Okay. Yeah, I'll pay it.
Okay. 1 fate point. You have, you can quickly just move over there. You're perfectly deft at navigating through your own sticky mucus. Grab it, wet the floor down, just kind of splash it over those that are like very stuck in there. They are now fluid. Like basically they're you can tell like they're freaking out because of the smoke. And I'm assuming basically Towner, Claudia, and Enya, you guys are pretty much the muscle. So I will assume that you would all try to push them or slide them out, right?
Oh yeah.
Claudia, as you're working to push these guys out of the room, or towards the exit, you can hear one of them say, "I should have stayed in dental school."
You could always go back.
I think I will. Thanks, ma'am. He's just as he's getting slid along the ground.
Just tips his stripper hat to her.
Yeah, yeah. Give me Icepeak a slither roll.
Oh no.
A 0. You can tell that the quickness with which you're going to move with this group. Do you want to spend a fate point to re-roll that, by the way?
Yes, please. I will spend 1 fate point as a tactical medical officer, knowing they shouldn't stay in the smoke and the fire that's about to be here.
Okay. Well, with the coordination of your group on the efforts that they are currently undertaking, Connor, give me a toothy bruiser roll, real quick, just to
All right.
get a feeling of how quickly you're able to muscle these guys out. Pretty good. Okay, so you're able to kind of like get them all towards the exit. All of you in a coordinated effort. Mikey has made it the slip and slide. We're just gonna get them all out of here one by one. I guess I could as a group, but yes, you are able to move them along. The civilians, I would assume, I think we can all safely assume, they're gone. Like they, come on, fire, fighting. Like they're just normal people. So
yeah, I hope they ran from the building.
Yeah. So these guys are all kind of, we'll just put them near the entrance, in safety, more or less. They're considered to be restrained still. Like you can, I don't know if you have time to cuff them and book them properly, obviously, but yeah, they're out of the picture right now, and these civilians are also, gone. So once you get the room clear, the little ember that was flickering down from the sky detonates and causes the electronics in the room to blink once or twice, shakes the building just a little bit wherever it landed. More embers begin to fill the air, and you can feel that there is a fire rising somewhere in this establishment.
Don't expect Elfman to want to get us all killed right now. I'm surprised.
From the smoke and through a cloud of the embers, you see a single red light appear, and then a figure step out of the shadow and smoke, revealing Anthrax with a lit cigarette between her fingers, the scarred face and mechanical prosthesis of her jaw shining just a little bit on the light of a passing ember. She takes a drag of her cigarette and then exhales smoke through her exposed teeth on the side of her mouth, the cheek torn and burn away. She kind of stares at you all and just kind of shrugs. Well, you killed Gory. I guess I'm next. All by my lonesome.
If you just came by for a drink, you can still do that. We didn't come here to fight anyone.
Oh, the
Yeah,
good
the
guys
bartender
never want
left.
to...
And he, like, Mikey's behind the bar.
Fix me up a screwdriver.
Mikey will just kind of look around. He doesn't know where anything is back here, so.
It's a mess, but yeah,
Yeah.
there are the ingredients for a screwdriver. She rolls her head, cracking her neck, the little gears and valves and pistons that align in her body, just like releasing small bits of pressure and steam. One of them even releasing one of these ember fuel cells. You hear a voice, Mikey, that says, "Make that a double." And a small strip of foil descends from the ceiling. And Rammstein manifests from the wraps of metal that form his body. Say, it looks like we're having a little bit of a party on this dance floor. Now I, Officer Stein, enjoy a good party, but if you're disturbing the peace, you're being a public nuisance, I'll have to stop you. That's just what a good lawman does.
We are simply doing our job in stopping some Daganites.
Daganites, please. There's no Daganites here.
Oh, just one.
Yeah,
only-
but he left.
The only Daganites I see are you AQUA members.
No, we're mer people. There's a difference between the two. I know it's kind of a thing, but
What is the difference between a Dagonite and a merman? Supposedly, it's that one worships Avicii and the other does not. Like a more modern, enlightened individual, they seek their spirituality and religion elsewhere. Supposedly, they are no longer in service to the Lord of the Deep. But if you ask me, and, well, you should, as someone who suffered at the hands of a merman who supposedly wasn't one of the Avicii worshippers, someone who said that they were a friend, I don't really think that it matters what they worship, what they think, what you think, what you worship. You're a slave to your biology as much as any human, and your biology is meant for one thing and one thing alone: death of humanity. That's it. Walking, talking murder machines, just like us. He spins once and lets his blades unwind just a bit to show how long and sharp that they are, those foil strips. Evolution ends here, it seems, for humanity. We have to innovate to stay ahead. Now, who wants to fight to the death? He raises his hand. Anne also raises her hand.
Hey, we just said we don't want to fight anyone, and we're still going to be firm in that. We're looking for Director Elfman.
Well, I I guess that's too bad. We don't always get what we want in life, do we? In the background, Blue, as you see Rom talking, you see your cat just kind of strolling along. You notice that Ember stops to swat at some of the wisps, dangerously close to actually hitting one. Your cat is distracted by the bright, shiny lights. At any moment, it keeps trying to jump up to swat at them, just missing by a fraction. If the cat swats one of those things, there's a good chance it could explode.
Dreams on fire.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So you shout out "Dreams on Fire." You guys, when Blue screams at interrupting and surprising both Officer Anthrax and Romstein, you notice that there is a shape, sort of a heat shimmer that manifests around Blue, almost like a figure or some kind of just abnormal like mirage type shimmering appears near her for a split second. Blue, you call out the name of your stand. It's something that resonates within you. You see your cat's in a lot of danger right now of swatting one of these embers. For a moment, just as brief as it is, your field of vision becomes infrared. And you can see all these little points of light around your cat, who's also a blob of heat that's trying to reach up and swat. Very warm, actually, a cat is. You can also tell that there's warmth rising from, it looks like the base. But as you're focusing on your cat, you want your cat to not be in danger. You loved your cat. So one by one, a few of those little points begin to fade out, those little points of light around your cat. And you begin to feel warm, hot, even more so than usual. Or more so than, like, the room's already warm. You're feeling heat. Where do you concentrate the heat that you're stealing from those embers? You can just hold on to it for now if you want, and disperse it through your body. But for now, because you're sort of unfamiliar with how your stand works, it is a little painful. Like, you've stolen the heat. You've stolen the heat. You just also know that you're like retaining it, and like you can even feel not necessarily your blood burning or anything or boiling, but like it feels like that could happen if you do that too much. For those of you who are wondering, Dreams on Fire is the name of Blue Stand, and it has the ability to steal heat. In this case, it's draining heat out of some of those embers near Ember. And Ember is currently sad and disappointed that there are no more bright little fireflies around her. So Ember's gonna just kind of like wander away towards the direction that they were originally going into, leaping over a console and then kind of strutting off and around the corner. And like the cigarette drops from her lips as she sees that happen, and then she looks back at you, Blue. What did you do?
I didn't do anything. I don't know.
Rom looks towards you, Blue, and it starts laughing. Humanity really is doomed. That was it. That was the only edge we had. Stand users. Now, I saw it with my eye, my own eye. He kind of like just pokes himself in the eyeball, kind of almost nudging it out of the socket. I can't believe this. I get to be here when the end arrives, the dawning of the age of destruction. What a treat. When I was torn to pieces, so very long ago, I thought that was it. The world would die, but I wouldn't get to see it. No matter how hard I struggled, no matter how hard I believed in myself, how many friends I made along the way, I'd miss out on the apocalypse. But that right there, he points at Blue, means that I'm not late to the party. He holds his arms out and then lets blades unfurl from his hands and wrists like streamers. Now I have to fight you to the death. I have to. There's no option left for us. Humanity is doomed. We might as well go out fighting. Anne looks pretty shook about this. She steps back into a defensive posture, and you can see she's gathering in her hand like one large fuel cell that she's draining out of a palm reservoir. Be careful, Rom. We don't know what their abilities are now.
You're really committed to that whole end of humanity thing when we've barely been given a chance to exist at all. You don't need to fight us. In fact, we're technically on your side, you realize.
Like I care. Like I care how long you've been around. Like I care. How long was the meteor around that killed the dinosaurs? Probably a split second. Not very long. Though afterwards, the effects were pretty long lasting. I get it. He holds up a hand. You're innocent. You're just a natural disaster. A fluke. Part of fate, maybe. Doesn't matter to me. I could choose to lay down, play nice, make kissy faces at fish fucks, and hope upon hope, that as you're pushing me in a wheelchair somewhere, maybe I'll get to be on a nice hill as I watch the cities of humanity fall and the cities of mermen rise. Oh, wouldn't that be lovely? Just so heartwarming. You care so much for us. Empathy doesn't have anything to do with this. Sentiment really doesn't matter much. All that matters much in this particular moment is what makes you feel alive. And what makes me feel alive more than anything else is fighting. So if you really want to help, if you really want to be my friend, then just lie down and die for me.
If you're really so passionate and fiery for doing anything about this supposed, well, merman threat, why focus on small fry like us? Go for gold instead, right?
He takes a moment, considering your words. You're right.
There's an opportunity that's closer than you think.
It's true. There is.
And in this case, we would actually help you to put it down. You could always kill us afterward if, you have any remaining strength.
Sure. Tell me, what is it that you're talking about exactly here?
I know it's hard to believe, but we believe you have a crown within your midst.
One of the leaders of the Daganites?
Right, exactly. Pulling strings where he shouldn't.
You know, if I'm being honest, I just don't care anymore.
Well, if that's how it is, I guess we're just looking at a rabid dog.
I guess so. Well, officers, put me down! He begins to unfurl his body, lurching forward into a strange spring of blades, almost serpentine in the movements through the swaying embers and smoke. He rises up nearly twice his height, a head bobbing on the end of a bladed foil strip. There's nothing left of him as a human at this point. Maybe a small metal case dancing and bouncing around between the blades, like a juggling act, and a head which turns upside down, hair hanging, as it looks at you, Enya, directly. Let's give peace a chance. 1 piece, 2 pieces, 3 pieces, 4.
Come on, that's not funny. I'll give you what you want. She looks towards Mikey. Hey, do you think that your sticky stuff will work on this guy?
Mikey kind of gives a shrug.
Didn't work so great last time, but, second time's the charm.
Get some in a bottle and I'll see what I can do with it.
Mikey will just pull, some of the glasses from the bar and just start filling them with goop.
To give him some time to do that, she's gonna go ahead and charge directly into this guy.
Okay, go ahead. Make an attack against him. How are you going to try to attack him? Oof.
With an invoke and a reroll. I'm gonna invoke her Roll of Assaulter, and It's just gonna be like a body weight check.
Okay.
So sort of like maybe hopefully bend some of those blades.
As you come in towards him, he kind of opens his body up, creating basically a perfect space for you to fit, and then collapses down on you with blades, like just trapping you in basically a mummy type wrap of running steel foils that are currently just all going in opposite directions of one another, layer by layer, trying to shred you. It can't get through your armored form, and you are very resistant, if not, I believe, totally immune to cutting damage. So basically what you guys see is Enya charge in, this guy collapse on her, and then wrapped up, you see a bunch of sparks start to fly off of this death contraption that Rom has made out of his own body. He currently has you held. We'll say you're like here, but he can't cut through your form. Claudia, you're like next up after Rom, who looks at you, basically turns his head towards you and throws himself forward and tries to lunge, basically flip Enya's body over and bring it down on you like a bludgeon from the air. Like he basically uses his fulcrum of gravity, basically centered on his head, to swing Enya down on you like a hammer. This attack comes with, let's see. No, it doesn't have any extra stunts to it. -1. He's going to use his fate point to invoke on that. He has a hollow body but a dense core. It's one of his aspects. So he's going to re-roll that -1. Good God. A +1. Okay, that's decent. Go ahead and give me, I guess, martial arts expert.
Okay.
Good God. Yeah, what do you want to do to... What do you do with your martial arts moves in this moment? You see this guy swinging down towards you like a giant hammer, a wrecking ball. You completely... Whatever your move is devastating here.
Honestly, just uses his momentum against him and actually just forces him off of Enya.
So we'll say you kind of maybe sidestep and then press him down into the ground as hard as you can. Maybe you give him a quick aura with some clamshell knives between your fingers or something to like punch through his metal body. Does that seem good?
Yeah.
Okay. You puncture him very badly with this, like enough to cause him to unwrap around Enya, enough for her to get out on her turn. You deal, well, you don't deal any stress yet, but the next attack against him that you do, you have a +2 boost, basically. Honestly, with that score, I'm going to say a +3. You mean, you rolled 6 above him. I'm just going to give you a +3 on that. So you devastate Rom. You can see his head actually like try to open his mouth to scream, but he can't quite at the moment because his lungs are all weird with this body situation of his, and throws just that giant glob that she had of explosives towards basically this cone right here of Claudia, Towner, and Blue. Trying to, like, she's freaking out because she just saw Rom get, like, you know, more or less annihilated. So she's gonna throw out a fuel cell towards you guys to create an advantage for Rom. This has a +2 to it, so a 6.
Okay.
To defend against the incoming blast cone radius. If you invoke on that, you can actually pass that and stop it from making an advantage.
I'll invoke her sunlight.
Okay, you have like clam armor basically, or oyster armor. Like you have a shelly exterior you can manifest, right?
Yeah.
Like a bony stone kind of. Yeah. So let's just maybe cover up momentarily or something, causing the fire to actually split right on the point of impact, which was you, and hit like basically above Towner and below Blue, but they are both guarded by your movement here. She looks now a little bit like ruffled, and as she sees that happen, it is, we'll say, Towner's turn. Towner, you're like right there, you're ready to brawl. You see that Rom is trying to unwind and like maybe get a little bit away from Enya and Claudia. What do you want to do?
Towner is about to charge in, basically, and then one of his little stand skeleton hands comes out, and it sort of like hops over, if he had an ear, like a visible ear, where it would be on the side of his head as though it's whispering to him, and he stops like, what, now? Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. And then if he had eyebrows, they would go up as he goes, oh, and then he will go over and start eating metal. They'll just yell out, eat it! Start eating his face.
Nice. So you just move up and start eating metal. They aren't really sure what to make of that, either one of them, but they're going to just try to ignore it for now as they're focused more on Rom being in danger. Give me a bite roll. You're trying to create an advantage.
Okay.
Just see how much of an advantage you create here. So 2. Okay. You give yourself a +2 on your next move as you're preparing specifically to fight Anne. And we'll just say that's your create an advantage roll right now. So you will, and you are also, like, we'll say, starting to turn metal, like a more or less trying to starting to solidify maybe parts of your body, including like your hands and teeth. Probably mostly your teeth, right? Because that's where you wanted to focus it.
Yeah.
Or your teeth and mouth and throat. Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, even as Towner is saying that and screaming it, his voice is sounding more metallic as well. Do you make it obvious that you're gonna gun for Anne after that?
He's probably giving her the stink eye while he's eating metal, so yeah.
Rom is going to attempt to slither away. To just basically get away. And you can roll against the 3 if you want to restrain him or keep him from moving away. Otherwise, he's going to be free. Using your full body weight and the damage you've done to his body, he is unable to get entirely free of you. He did not expect this. But he does seem to be strangely calm about the situation. On his turn here, that was more of his movement thing. On his turn here, he's going to, with this roll, coil his body a little bit and basically force you off with a spring motion, throwing you into the air. No matter how heavy you are, his tensile strength when he coils those foils allows him to do that. So roll against the 6, so you're going to be airborne.
Up in the air I go.
Okay, you're currently airbound and off of Rom. Next turn is Blue. Blue, you see Enya go up into the air after she had been captured by a metal cocoon of blades. In fact, she looks like she's gathering up another flame fuel cell to throw at Enya now that she's up in the air. If you wanted, you could try to blow up the fuel cell in her hand with your stand ability.
Would I use the heat that I've absorbed and could I? Okay, transfer it to that.
Okay, with stand abilities, you don't have to roll.
Okay.
So you basically cook the grenade that she's already about to cook, like you're overcooking it. So you can see basically in your infrared vision, it's already a hot orb and it starts to glow even hotter, and you see the infrared silhouette of Anne looking down at it, and then her looking like she is about to try to throw it. So she basically goes to throw this giant fireball, and it explodes mid-throw in her hand, blowing her arm off. But the giant, almost wing-like gout of flame and just exploding metal shrapnel just lash out. So her arm is blown off by that motion, but she was still determined enough to get it out. And not only that, she is invoking 2 things. She's invoking no more games and being a demolitionist. Her squad role is a demolitionist. She's using a controlled shaped explosion to basically supercharge this attack. And that means it comes at you with a 12.
Oh my god.
You're basically up in the air. This is like the second time I think this has happened to you. You're just being airborne for basically to get Devil May Cry comboed.
Yeah, really.
give me a breakthrough roll, I guess, to determine if you can kind of try to divide that damage in the same way that Claudia did, or act as a breaking point for the explosive force. Your armored form. The 4.
I'll just eat the damage for now. So she's being like lit up, basically.
Yeah, you're being lit up and just washed with explosive fiery force. It's like going to smash you into the ceiling and basically send you dropping to the ground, like smashing down into the ground, like we'll say right about here, as you're like basically thrown away, ejected, and catapulted. It's 9 shifts of damage. So moderate consequence, you are now like, so moderately scorched. Don't want to miss. Yeah, there you go. You're scorched. You're badly burnt. And enough that Anne also has advantage on you on her next turn on top of what she just did, like as a consequence. So like she's already sizing you up to like concentrate more embers on you on her next turn, the enemy's next action. Rom reconstitutes himself out of the spring, still punctured and beaten up. Icepeak, you have the turn now. What would you like to do?
I guess go try to treat Enya.
I mean, it's a little. It's maybe not the best situation to try. Like at any moment, Anne is about to throw another bomb at Enya, which would hit you too.
Yeah, just let her smolder for a bit.
She only has one arm left, right?
Yes.
Can I, like, throw a ball of eels at her and try to just, like, make it so she can't let go of that bomb?
I mean, you can try, but just so you know, like, you did spend a lot of eels to... I don't know if you're still holding on to those people that you were...
Yeah, I am very short, yes.
Yeah, you're very short right now. doing this, running that idea, that tactic, could put you at great risk here, because you're already low on your body.
Well, I mean, ones outside would still be alive, but yes.
True. They're just not at your disposal immediately. You can call them back if you want. But they'll take a second to like reconstitute your swarm body. In the meantime, if you're trying to do that, give me an experiment roll as you try to use your eels to, you think, stop Anne from further pelting Enya with bombs.
So she goes down from being a teenager to being like a toddler. Tries to throw a ball of eels.
Do you want to fate point it?
I don't want Enya exploded, so yes.
You would have to use both fate points to get that result of stopping her or trying to restrain her.
I'm gonna use Doctor because I don't want Enya exploded, and I'm gonna use Dragonite Consultant because while I'm up close, I want to whisper into her ear that you're following a Dagonite, you know.
She
distract her.
On her turn, with you wrapping her arm, you can feel something warm in the middle of those eels.
Yeah.
She produces another fuel cell, spits out a couple of fragments of metal, of hot metal that had like basically been lodged like, in her mouth from the explosion of one arm. You can hear her say in response, "Don't care anymore," as she detonates the arm that you're holding, or the hand specifically, and the cluster of eels within it. She's going to transfer the advantage that she had on Enya. So that is a 7. Oh, look at that. So you are able to basically align your eels in such a way, or loop them out so that they get blown across the room in different areas, but they don't die. Some of them probably do get cooked, singed, and killed, but like you are able to maintain the mass of yourself without it taking too much damage. It's how we'll run that. Anna's blown off both of her arms now.
So there's like fires on the other side of the room now.
Yeah, there's just fire and metal everywhere, and eels kind of splattering into the wall. And, yeah, and a woman with like no arms standing there is like a torso with smoking holes where her limbs used to be.
Cooked eels falling off of her.
Yeah. Mikey, it is your turn. You see that one of your squad mates is on the ground burning.
I mean,
Rom's looking pretty smug.
Yeah, I don't really have the means in which to heal her. Anne is missing her arms, but I guess she could still produce more fuel cells?
Yes.
Yeah. If that's the case, then Mikey will take one of the shakers there at the bar that is just full of his own sticky mucus and basically start whipping them at Anne like grenades to try and keep her from producing more fuel cells out of her body. Just basically just gunking up the works. He's just she's all gears and he's gunk. Like they're oil and water. They shouldn't mix. So he's just gonna make her day worse.
Okay. Give me an understanding roll. You're gonna have to meet or beat a 5 if you want to get that to. That would basically be creating an advantage on her.
I'll invoke my drive and my squad roll. So learning everything I can and then being an observer or counter sniper. She's popping off and I need to pop her off.
Yeah, that's exactly what you did. You observed how she works, kind of like what she does, what her ability is. You're counter sniping her with the sticky goop. As you can see, her jaw actually drops down with a very sharp metal clank, and it looks like she's charging something in her mouth. But the goop actually starts to splash over her, causing her to stumble to the side here, and look down at this what's now sizzling goop. I mean, she's cooking it on herself from the amount of heat that she's producing. Blue, you can actually see she's super heated right now, maybe to a dangerous degree for even a cyborg. She gets splashed with this slime Molotov, and some of her parts begin to shudder and crackle as it gets into the gears and different little intricate machinery that's inside of her body. You have created an advantage. Next person that acts against Anne can take a +2 to their action. Rom, seeing that you just did that, Mikey, is going to cartwheel his body with his head in the middle like a giant horrible star or wheel and just come spinning at you. That attack is coming with a 4. Actually, he's gonna invoke one fate point. He's sharper than steel, so as he's coming at you, you can see him cutting a line through the floor as he is spinning towards you. Give me a slick roll, I guess. That is a 3 stress. Yeah, he has a +1 weapon with his blades. So you take 3 stress. If you don't have a 3 box, yeah, you do have a 3 box. You take 3 stress as he starts to chop into you, but you're able to.
Yeah, he probably tries to pull away, having fought him before and knowing what it's like dealing with this ribbon of pain, but still gets clipped because he's still just a bunch of ribbons.
So he ends up on the other side of you on the bar, just cleaving right through the wall after he misses you and cutting out a section of it. Revealing some of the strippers who are one or two of them that may still be there. They're staring through the wall, and they start screaming.
Hey, sorry, why leave? Get out! He's yelling at the strippers to stop being there.
Claudia, I'll say it's your turn.
She'll throw some knives at Anne and embed it into her gears, kind of she's already gunked up with the gears, might as well throw a literal wrench into it. Yeah, I'll invoke no one can escape the law forever.
Okay. Yeah, this is someone you've seen attack children. You've seen her basically walk through and obliterate a part of the trenches. She's done it without remorse, and now even when she finds out that there may be a Dagonite leading her group, she doesn't seem to care. So, yeah, invoking that the law, no one evades it forever. This is a criminal you're dealing with, no matter what colors they wear or the badge on their chest. You gunk up those gears with those knives. They start to jam into some of the mechanisms that help her to prepare her fuel cells to throw and fire. She looks extremely... she's in a very bad place, right? She's going to try to use small miniature explosions to blow some of the just slime and all the knives out of her body, small micro explosions. With a 7, she is able to blow out some of the gunk and the daggers. Actually, the damage is still there. Her body still looks very messed up from the small series of explosions, but you can see the pock marks revealing black mechanical forms beneath scorched metal, not too dissimilar from Gory Newman and his form. She is standing there as a smoking, hole-riddled husk. The skeletal arm and chest beneath, where flesh was once draped, showing this frame of a human being, but there's not much human there anymore. Her breathing is ragged, and she looks like she is about to launch an attack. But Towner, you are like right there. You're prepped. So now with your metal form, what would you like to do here? Execute the scene exactly as you said. Come up and try to bite her.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, give me a bite roll. So I believe that's a 10, right? Actually,
I guess so. Yeah.
I think an 11 with all the boost and the fact that you're a Hulk. Oof. When you bite down into her, her metal frame feels like it's been reinforced through war. She would take 5 physical shifts, but you can further invoke, or you can even invoke the fact that she's missing both arms and can't properly navigate. You can invoke her injury, her consequence that she has.
Okay, I will invoke that. I'll also invoke, I guess, anger, just because this lady almost murdered him, and he's pissed.
That takes your score from an 11 to a 15. Jesus. So she takes 9 physical shifts. Well, 8, but I'm still going to mark it off of 9 because it's just the way the math works. So those series of micro explosions made it so that she didn't have the reflexes in time to like dodge or get into a better position, and she doesn't have arms anymore, so she can't force her way out. She's currently trapped in your jaws. She's going to very strong. You can actually see a light behind the eyes for a moment of a blinking that is increasing in frequency, and a small beep, 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 beep. She, for the first time that maybe you've seen any of these people express some kind of emotion, you can see that there is a liquid pouring down from the corner of one of her eyes, but it's not tears, it's fuel. It begins to trail down the ruins of her cheeks. Rom sees this and hears this and tries to reform and bound over you, Mikey. It seems he's trying to rush towards your group. You want to try to stop him?
Yes.
Give me a gaze roll. The 5. How do you want to stop him? But let me tell you why I asked you to roll gaze first. You see that Rom actually is crying, and he's looking directly at Anne. So I will ask you again if you want to stop him or not.
Ooh. Oh. Because I feel like I know, why he's crying and why it's bad. But I don't want her to blow up Towner again. So yeah, he might be trying to stop her. Yeah, Mikey will probably just, like, as loud as he can, like, over everything else that's happening. He'll just go, Towner, drop it! Just in, like, this various sort of, like, dog has something it shouldn't tone.
I wish I could say that that's the first time you've had to yell it at him, but that's
It is
probably
not.
wrong. He'd probably give him like an angry, like, but mom face.
Yeah, it's definitely like the dog, like, no.
And then he'd snort and I guess meet him halfway and like throw her towards him, but not like projectile wise, just like, here, take it.
So you hear beep, 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 beep. Rom goes rushing towards Anne with his foil body unwinding, and the two of them make eye contact for a moment and then both close their eyes. Rom actually wraps her in metal. So you just see his head now floating, like kind of on the outside. Fair and square. No one can say that I wasn't fair. He begins to turn bright as light begins to filter through some of the puncture wounds and the divides in his metal strips. Then his head drops off of his body, the metal foil just releasing it, and the eye goes blank. And there is a ear-piercing scream as the body inflates, spikes out, but the explosion remains contained within Rom. Both of them are just left as this smoking husk, a strange sort of avant-garde sculpture of a skeleton encased in a spiky, protruding shell, blown open just slightly enough so that you can see a hand reaching up towards the sky from the midst of the wreckage and twisted metal.
After a beat, Towner just snorts and says, "Good riddance."
There's still a fire in the basement. It's still rising, and the smoke is going ever higher. But Blue, you remember that your cat was going into a certain direction. It seemed like they knew. It seemed like Ember knew where she was going.
Well, first I was gonna see if she could like absorb any, if there's like, if Enya's in pain from heat, if I could absorb.
Oh yeah, you can
Well,
totally,
that-
you can totally draw the heat out of Enya's cooking form.
Yeah, do that.
Anya's gonna look really confused. And just staring at Blue. A little afraid. You're just controlling that?
I guess so. I'm not really sure what's happening. But also sorry about what happened.
She's just gonna stare at her, but also like be more interested in the two that just perished? Question mark.
The embers that Anne had spread out begin to turn from a shade of orange to a very pale sort of blue, almost ghost light. They are inactive now, inert, just floating around and eventually fading off whenever they touch a wall or any surface.
We should evacuate the building.
Yeah, Mikey will turn around and like through the wall, like be like, "Go!" Like to the strippers. Like there's still a fire. Please.
They, in a very tight formation, yes, run out the door, just flood out of the place screaming as cop cars are pulling up on the outside. Someone did call it in.
Guess I check all side rooms for survivors.
If you were to check the side rooms of this club, you'd find that there are like one or two ARU guys that were still in here hiding.
I'd like to preserve the bodies.
Sure. There's nothing really left of Anne. Rom's head still is lying there. It doesn't seem to be functioning. But if you were to consider the nature of his cyberization, it's likely his brain is still intact. It's just shut down.
Yeah, I'll save that as well.
Okay, you can put in your inventory. You have one cyborg head.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess once Mikey yells at the strippers to leave, he'll probably go over and join Icepeak and just go, maybe Russ could do something about it. I mean, the head was the only part of him that was, I guess, still people.
Yeah, technically you have the remains of, I believe, Gory Newman, right? In your possession as well.
Oh, yeah. I guess no, wait, didn't he blow up?
He did, but I mean, his shell is still there.
Okay.
Okay.
It depends on how you feel what remains are, technically speaking.
Yeah, there's still, I guess, scrap of him.
Yeah.
Around the precinct.
Likely, there's still, yeah. Gory's left fragments of himself quite a bit, and you did have his husk. Also, now that you guys are all kind of gathered up and collecting yourselves, you see that there is a bright light coming from a stairway where it looks like there is a second floor to this club, likely the office of Director Elfman himself, and it seems that someone is in. They won't be able to send fire crews in until they get an all clear on this, and the police outside are forming a perimeter. You guys all have radios, so you can hear them calling it in. People are calling, checking on your status, asking when it's safe, if there are anybody in there that needs medical assistance.
Yeah, we need to be clear that Clint isn't here. Or Maddie.
They want clarification. Is this a hostage situation?
Possible. I would say it would probably be more defined as like a search and rescue.
Okay. What do you want the emergency responders outside to do? You have firefighters and you have like some just cops who are responding. They're just normal people.
I mean, I guess the firefighters can come in to put out the actual fire we're dealing with, and we can keep doing our cop stuff.
Is it safe though? Have you cleared? There's one floor you have to clear before that happens, I would say. Yeah, the strippers are outside getting arrested. Don't worry. Do you want to send the firefighters into the basement?
Nah, we should probably check first, because yeah, if the building comes crashing down on them, we just killed a bunch of firefighters.
True. Who wants to check the basement?
I feel like now that we know Blue has a anti-heat thing, maybe she should go check.
Okay, Blue.
Yeah. I'm also concerned about like cat. Which direction did the cat go?
Towards the stairway to the second floor.
Oh.
If you check the basement, give me a piercing gaze roll. With a 4, your assessment is that this fire was started on purpose. It is being fueled by something that isn't just regular fuel. Maybe even anthrax set this. There seems to be, like, even if firefighters were to respond to this, it's them being able to put it out on short notice without like expert like chemical equipment. It would be very difficult for them to fight. It's a very hot fire. So hot you can actually feel it. Just being on the floor here, it's like heating up the metal, the supports of the building. Judging by the fact that it is in the basement and it's being fueled by that kind of very reactive, like industrial grade fuel cell that anthrax possessed, it's likely that they would not be able to successfully stop this place from burning down. Though you still have time, and they could like help to slow it down. It's likely this building is not really gonna make it.
Okay, I guess I need to let the fire crew know about that.
Sure, you can just radio it in.
Yeah.
Do you advise them that they should slow it down, or that they should just stay clear?
They should still try to slow it down.
Okay. They'll be working to contain the fire and try to slow it as much as they can so that you guys can do your work, whatever it is. The firefighters of Guam, for the most part, in Stella Maris are like, they work pretty well with you guys. They don't really go in all for the, racism shit. There is one guy that you see as the firefighter crews are coming in. He's kind of like skinny and shifty, and he kind of like looks at you, Blue, with one kind of eye, the other one half hidden behind a hat and visor, and he kind of just winks at you and moves in with the rest of the crew. He blends in quickly before you could even pick him out again. There's something kind of off about that guy. Some of you, but maybe not all of you, may recall that in the very earliest parts of planning the campaign, there was an example Dagonite. His name was Siggy Gonzalez. He embeds himself as a firefighter. But that's metagaming. You don't know that. Yeah, that's right. It's called back to a test session. It was earlier when it was probably maybe even before you joined the game, when I was going over some of the mechanics of Dagonites and Mermen. Siggy Gonzalez was the example.
What is he even under?
He's not under anything.
Oh.
He doesn't even have I can make actually he's under just a general listing. I can move him up to Dagonites though. That was like before I had the folder for them. He doesn't have an icon yet. His motto is "Smoke him if you got him," and his mode is he is based on the striped headstander. He doesn't have a type yet, but probably isn't hard to flesh that part out. You have like a crew that's like basically maintaining and trying to control and contain the fire. You have a second floor to go to. You move up through the smoke and the flame and arrive in a second floor where it seems like most of the doorways are locked. Some of the doors collapsed in. Maybe alarmingly, you see, Mikey, you observe this. There's like what looks like a skin covered in tattoos nailed to a wall. And the more that you guys are walking through this second floor, the more you see there are parts like that, hands, a face, just skin nailed to the walls. If you were to examine these, they feel rubbery. There's no blood on them. but they're everywhere, all along the second floor.
Mikey will take pictures, even though the smoke may get in the way. He'll start working to evidence.
Yeah. And then finally, on the door on which there was a placard that says Director Elfman, nailed to the door itself is a face that feels haunted. It is white, pale, red lips, fragments, shreds of bright, fiery orange hair, similar to Director Elfman, but not quite. Something about it is familiar. This is not quite a face, but rather an effigy or mask. And the longer you stare at it, the wider the smile on the lips seems to become, as if space was distorting near it. And then all at once, you realize that this is a mask, a face, a representation of Avicii Dagon, nailed to the wall, nailed to the door, rather, of the office that you are approaching, the door to which is slightly ajar.
Enya's gonna be the one that opens the door after being chilled by that mask, that face.
So you push open the door and emerge in a blindingly bright office. Even for you, Mikey, it's extremely, it's way too bright. It's overexposed. The lights eventually begin to fade slowly, but they do. Director Elfman is seated behind his desk, rocking back and forth. To his left is Maddie, and to his right is Clint. Both are tied up and look very bloody and beaten. Maddie is basically contained in a very tight suit, some kind of containment suit. He sees you, turns around in his chair to put the chairs back to you, and then turns back around slowly. This time, which he didn't have before, he has what looks like a small, almost puppet of himself. It has dog ears. It is very small. Same face, though, as Director Elfman.
Look, the place is surrounded. What is it that you want? Because you're probably not escaping here.
Escape? What do you mean, escape?
You clearly have two hostages with you. Wouldn't it be in your best interest to leave?
He looks at his small doppelganger and just begins to stroke this. It looks like a dog. It's a dog-like humanoid. He just starts stroking its head. Leave. Hostages. Those are all very legal terms. Strange, even now, that you attempt to exercise the law where there is none at all.
Alright, you're right. I'm assuming here. What are your intentions?
It's simple. What do you think would happen if the people were to find out that behind a big technological push, weaponry and manufacturing, one that has ties to a major multinational corporation and one of the overarching, reigning military bodies around, the remnants of the Seven Nation Army, that is. What do you think would happen the moment it's revealed that hidden within their very ranks was a Dagonite? He pets the dog's head. The dog is just sitting there with no expression. Well, it's like a dog humanoid, really. Chaos would be what results, likely.
Human turns knife against human knives. Do you see what I did there? They are built for this level of paranoia, prepped and primed at any moment to turn on one another. Look at what they do with their fancy swords once they get a hold of them. Immediately form their little clans once they've cleared off a few of the more bothersome Daganites. Once they've removed them from the shores, then it's time, lads, to cut each other to little ribbons. Oh, it's inevitable. You see, I've already won this fight. I've already carried out the will of Lord of Dagon. Blessings be upon his name. There's no winning against me, because it's not me that you're really fighting. It's them. He motions at Clint. All of them. You're fighting to save them. They don't want to be saved. They're constantly fighting one another, scrapping together what little bit of ruin they can from their little civilization so that they can start again. This time differently, I swear. We'll do a constitution. Oh, the Magna Carta, some kind of bullshit. The next thing you know, they're wrapping that document tight and they're beating someone with it like a little bad dog. He gives his little dog puppet a smack on the head. You can hear it whimper.
Everyone should be allowed to try, right?
You're right. He gets up from his chair, walks around his desk. Everyone should have a chance. He puts his hand on the small dog humanoid's head to struggle, and he just quickly turns it and breaks its neck, and then throws it on the ground. The small dog humanoid figure just starts to writhe and wriggle with its broken neck, convulsing. Look at it. He squats down and looks at it. Struggling. No more struggling. He stands up and adjusts his suit. You're right. There will be time to struggle. All the time in the world. My task is done. Surely after me there will be others who see things the way I do, not by limited morality or whatever little thing the humans put in your head, but by the truth. You see, I am the truth. He starts to roll his arm at the shoulder, and you can see muscle bulging beneath the fabric. I don't know that you lot have ever really encountered a true crown.
These aren't the depths. Up here, it's not the domain of the crowns. Maybe like a small amount, but all this talk about killing people, all of humanity, it's just so black and white. Avicii's he's not some god.
Really? Look. He squats down again and picks up the little dog body and shakes it. You can hear the bones in the neck begin to reset, and the organism, whatever it is, just breathes in deep and starts just gasping for air and struggling. Not a god? Well, look at this, a resurrection. This is a little thing I was working on, a mutation. Hybrid theory is big these days. This one, based off of an old rumor I had heard from a countryside somewhere in Europe. There was a man who went mad and turned the mare into a dog or something like that. Cut off the head, stabled it to a dog body. I thought, not very refined. I should try for something better. So this one I made in like a little lab, almost like a cocktail shaker. My DNA? Dog DNA. Shake it up, pour it into a glass, wait a while, and this thing came out. Look at him. He starts shaking the little dog thing violently. A homunculus after my very own heart.
Do you care about it?
Does Avicii care about any of us?
Well, you're the truth. You tell us.
The answer is no. He politely sets the little panicked dog thing on the desk. He doesn't care about us. But that doesn't matter. We worship the sun in days of old. I don't think the sun cares very much for us at all. Its blessings are in light and heat. And there is a certain love that comes, I think, with a father. He starts to undo his necktie. But in general, I would say that we are about as insignificant to Avicii as that small dog thing is to me. It doesn't even have a name. What should its name be?
Well, the thing about creation is sometimes it just comes about out of chaos. And creators don't have to have any fondness for what they create, so maybe just let it choose its own name if you're not gonna pick it for it from a place of care.
Are you done?
Yeah, I think I am.
I can smell the stink of Atlantis on you, child. All that hopeful talk, the bleeding heart bullshit. Did you ever get tired of it, really? Would it be easier to just give in to the oblivion that awaits? The sheer religious delight that comes from just giving in, surrendering the will, and heeding the call of Avicii Dagon. It could be here for all of you right now. As I said before, I speak only the truth. This is perhaps your final chance to come back to the flock. Who among you, I say, will come join me? Any of you, maybe? I am genuinely hopeful.
It's not much of an offer.
Oh, I suppose you're right. You want to take me in, right?
Would you free the hostages?
Oh, them? He motions behind himself. He wiggles a finger, and two tongues come around their neck, pointed at their jugulars, sharp ends, barely avoiding breaking the skin. Those hostages, you mean?
Yes, trade me for them.
You? What value do you have?
Well, you are asking to return to the flock, are you not?
Yes, but if you're doing it to save these two, what? I don't know what she is, and him, he's just a washed up cop. Makes bad dad jokes.
Yes, quite enjoyable.
And you're going to sacrifice your life, your free will to save them.
Enya's looking at her like, what are you doing?
Icepeak just shrugs. Would you have it?
No! That's a horrible deal. What's wrong with you?
I was hoping you'd be foolish enough.
Foolish? Well, what do you mean, foolish? Really, though, I can't really put my finger on it, but I'm starting to think that you guys maybe believe me to be some sort of madman.
Clearly, yes.
Well, I'm not. Fit as a fiddle, I pass my physical every single year, including the psychological examination.
Surely you didn't manipulate any of that.
Believe it or not, I didn't. I'm very sane, as a matter of fact. Maybe a bit dramatic at times, but for the most part, he looks back at the hostages. No, I'd say sane, definitely. I'm so sane that I think that I should help you.
We're listening.
Well, I just couldn't help but to notice that you've been speaking to me, interacting with me at various points, a bit disrespectful, but that's fine. I let it slide. As a crown, I do have some authority and agency, a sort of regal nature to myself that, well, I don't like to brag about, but it's quite impressive, really. The pedigree that just cannot be beaten. I am superior to all of you combined. I can demonstrate as such if you'd like, but I don't know that it's truly necessary, is it? Do I need to demonstrate that? I don't think I need to. Do I need to?
Would it make sense for maybe not just Enya, but everyone to, like, in their gut, know, like, instinctively, that's obviously the case?
Instinctively, no. You don't know that. You would have at one point, but it's not clear anymore. The hierarchy has been disrupted.
You don't have to demonstrate that. What are you thinking?
Allow me to, if I may, briefly recount the history of our people. As a sort of parallel species to humanity, the roots of the merman exist far back in time. Ancient tribes which rose and were fearful of the sun. Those who became like monsters and giants haunting the periphery. Humanity always scared of us, the competitor species. Even before they had the ability to read and write, they drew pictures of us in caves. We monsters who exist in the fog and mist, waiting for one of them to just get a little bit too close while out picking berries or hunting pigs. And poof, they're gone. And for a while, existence was agreeable, it seems. From all recorded history that I've found in my many, many journeys and expeditions, it seems that there was a point when the order was reversed. Humanity hunted our kind, wiped us out eventually. Those damned humans and their tenacity. The Haman tribe, which exists in Central North America, parts in Europe, Italy even, all nomadic, sweeping and spreading the filth of human rebellion wherever it goes, giving them courage and pluck so that they could fight back against those scary monsters in the night. Oh, but in our days of glory, let me tell you what we were. He begins to flex through his clothes, tearing them. We were magnificent. He pulls off his shirt and jacket entirely. We were amazing. It was godly. He not only tears off his clothes now, he reaches into his own face and pulls back a layer. Let me educate you on the mastery of molecular control. He emerges from his own body. A second form pushes through it. This is a crown. A third face emerges from the shoulder. These faces, with their strange, waxy latex skin, are merging and shifting with one another. There is one constant face that exists between them. Hailing from the roots of the Pillar Men, blessings upon the ancestors. And of course, when I send your scattered shreds to the wind, it will be like a parade welcoming back the days of glory, when humanity trembled and wept, but this time, no survivors, no livestock to be kept and cared for. They will be gone, and you will join them, these beloved humans, in death. He is quite a bit larger than he was before, all of it emerging from the husk, the shell that was Director Elfman, this multi-limbed, multi-faced being. One face in contemplation, one face in regret, one screaming out in pain, and a still deadpan face, only staring at you, not moving its mouth. Every other mouth moves when he speaks, but not that one. You say this isn't the depths, but oh, isn't this feeling so familiar? And that is where we'll end the session.
I really hope the recording ends with, oh no!
Oh my god!
Yeah,
What a beautiful way to.
Oh no! It was perfect.
I loved it too.
With AQUA now facing down, the true form of a crown, not one disabled like Rihanna, but a truly empowered servant of Avicii. Will they survive? Will Clint and Maddie survive? More importantly, why is the cat here? Find out next time on JoJo's Bizarre Adventures.
I do want to know why the cat is here.
Why is the cat here?
I don't
Stand
know, it's a
users
cat.
are drawn to other stand users.
Yeah, probably.
Hmm. There he is. He's beautiful.
He's glorious.
That is from an album cover that Danny Elfman made.
Okay. I was like, truly, what horror is he like? Is his weird hair like flesh spelling out words as he beats us?
I could. He does do that thread thing.
I don't need that on top of getting my ass whooped. Is somebody spelling it out in front of me?
But it spells out, get your ass kicked as he beats you.
I dig the tribal tattoos. So, you know.
It's not like the actual album art is any less frightening, but there it is.
No.